What if every region was a nation in 1444? Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be checking out what would happen if every region was a nation in 1444. Before we begin, consider leaving a like and subscribing, since only 10% of you are subscribed, and you can become a member today. Let's get started. As you can see, it's December 1st, 1444, and I have let a month take by so the nations can get settled and to make sure no one releases any vassals. So let's check out all the nations that comprise all the regions. In Europe, we have Great Britain, Spain, France, the Netherlands, Brandenburg, Austria, Italy, Lithuania, Poland, Hungary, Byzantium, Scandinavia, Russia, Ruthenia, Crimea, Georgia, and the Ottomans, representing all the European regions respectively. In North Africa, we have Tunis and the Mamluks, Air, Mali, Benin, and Ethiopia representing these regions. And in the southern portion of Africa, we have Congo, Rwanda, Kilwa, and Butua representing these four regions. Over here, we have Najd representing Arabia, QQ, Persia in Persia, the Timurids, a little wild card with Hindustan representing the Hindustan region, Gujarat, Deccan, Vijayanagar, and Bengal. Over here we have Kazan, Uzbek, and Shafchuveni, Nogai, Mongolia, and Manchu. Korea be like, I don't get it. Japan, Ming, Dali, and Yu, Tibet. In Southeast Asia we have Ava, Khmer, Malacca, Majapahit, and Ternate. Now, due to popular demand, I have for the first time included the New World in one of these videos. So we have Australia and Aotearoa. Aotearoa represents the entire Oceania subcontinent, and they stretch all the way to over here. In South America, we have La Plata, Brazil, Paraguay, Inca, and Colombia representing the 5 South American regions respectively. In Central America, we have Cuba and the Caribbean, United Central America, Mexico, and in North America, we have California, Texas, and Alaska, Canada, Illinois, the US, and Florida, and we have 3 native nations, Choctaw, Comanche, and Cree, representing the North American regions respectively. And that's pretty much what the world looks like. Every nation is a region. In the Great Powers list, we have France at number 1, followed by Brandenburg. At number 3, we have Italy, followed by Austria. At number 5 is Hindustan. Number 6 is Spain. Number 7 is EU. And number 8 is Russia. So if you ever wondered which region has the highest dev, well, obviously it's France, followed by North Germany, Italy, South Germany, Hindustan, Iberia, South China, and Russia. These are the 8 highest developed regions in the world. So place your bets in the comments below right now. Who do you think will come out on top in the Great Powers list by the end of the game? And who will be the biggest losers and the biggest winners in this run? And let's check back in on these nations in about 30 to 40 years. So it's been about 40 years, and let's take a look at all the changes. I think the first thing you're gonna notice is that, well, Byzantium didn't do so well. First they got declared on by the Ottomans, then by Italy, then by Hungary, and this is what they look like right now. Brandenburg actually got Great Britain in a PU. France contested that PU, Brandenburg won and kept Great Britain, but then Great Britain declared an independence war, which they won. So the Netherlands took some land from Brandenburg. Great Britain then took some land from France, as we can see right here. They made them release. High note, Poland got Lithuania in a PU as always, and they smashed Ruthenia together. Scandinavia is struggling with rebels. Ethiopia and QQ beat down the Mamluks twice, and QQ are almost in Cairo. Rwanda defeated Congo big time. Hindustan got beat up by a couple of these nations, Bengal, Gujarat, and Nogai. They didn't lose a lot of land, but they made them release some nations. Persia lost to the Timurids. As we can see, they have shrunk by about 4 to 6 provinces. And China is, well, the usual. Ming got beat up by Manchu, by Mongolia, by Manchu again. Yu got beat up by Khmer, by Manchu. They declared on Ternate. They won. Korea doesn't exist anymore. Literally, Japan took almost all of it, and Manchu took some provinces as well. Manchu has definitely been the most aggressive nation so far. They are in a war against Khmer right now. The hordes haven't been doing too much, although Nogai is in a war with Uzbek right now in the Cambodian-Manchurian War for the Mandate of Heaven. See guys, this is why I don't add the New World to these types of videos. Paraguay just exploded. 2 rebels, so did La Plata. Brazil is actually doing pretty good. I might come to Brazil. Inca defeated Paraguay. Colombia blew up. Cuba is actually doing really good, and so is United Central America. Mexico also blew up. So did California. I don't know what happened with whichever nation was here, and Cree. I guess it's all just tribal land now. I don't think it's a bug since Choctaw still exists. Florida is doing Florida man stuff. Illinois lost 2 wars to Choctaw. The United States blew up, and so did Canada. Florida and Texas greater than the US? Question mark. And it's been another 40 or so years, and Byzantium is once again losing to the Ottomans. They did lose to Hungary once again, and I think they only have 1 or 2 wars left in them before they completely cease to exist. So that means, of course, the Ottomans have been expanding, and into QQ as well. I did have to manually spawn the Protestant Reformation. I did spawn it in Brandenburg. This happened maybe 10-15 years ago. No country is actually Protestant though, but the center of Reformation is converting some provinces. The Netherlands took a big chunk out of Scandinavia, taking almost all of Denmark proper as well as some provinces over here, and Russia took all of Finland as well as some provinces right here. So Scandinavia is not doing too good. Even Britain took a province in Iceland as well as these islands over here. Mali has been beating up Benin over here in Africa, and they have been taking control of the Guinea region as well. And Congo is really just suffering to rebels right now. Kazan has expanded a bit in this area though, and China is still looking like this. Khmer did expand even more into South China. As we can see, they took quite a lot of provinces from U. Ming expanded into U as well though, and so did Manchu over here, with even Japan taking a province right here. But Mongolia is no pushover either, taking all of these provinces from Manchu, and they even control Beijing right now. So Mongolia is doing really good. As we can see, Japan have started expanding into Manchu as well, so they did start out strong, but I guess all those wars really set them back, and now there are a couple of nations here that popped out too. Pima has replaced California actually, with California only being down to about 3 provinces maybe. Alaska is almost barely existent as well, with Haida of all nations taking over a lot of provinces, as well as Chinook and Salish. Choctaw is huge. They own the entire Mississippi and Great Plains regions, and they have kept beating down on Illinois, taking provinces from the Great Lakes as well. So Choctaw are doing really strong. No changes for Texas and Florida though. Texas has lost 1 or 2 provinces over here. Florida has gained quite a few provinces in the Northwest where the United States was, and the United States are pretty weak right now, with Native American nations taking control of Northeast North America. Canada are basically in Greenland right now, and Cree still hasn't fixed itself, but once they reform they will regain the territories that they had. So now it's 1560, and I think the first thing you can notice is that Italy absolutely decimated the Ottomans, and this happened like 2 or 3 years ago maybe, but they did take quite a bit of provinces actually, so that's something that happened. Byzantium is surprisingly still alive, and Hungary has expanded a bit into here, and Poland and Lithuania have almost completely decimated Ruthenia, with Russia taking land from them as well. And Russia has also been expanding into Kazan, and Kazan has been expanding southward. This is what the religion situation looks like. So Scandinavia did go Protestant, and Great Britain did go Anglican, and Hainaut is also Protestant. The Reformed religion also spawned in Brandenburg. Not a lot of changes in Africa. Mali did wipe out Benin completely though, so now Mali is pretty large, but they did lose some provinces to Ayer. Najd have also been expanding quite a lot into QQ, and they've also crossed into Persia, taking a bunch of provinces from them right here, and the Timurids have also been expanding into Persia. Still no changes in India. These nations aren't doing almost anything to be honest, but Malacca has expanded into Ava, and Khmer has expanded into South China even more. Majapahit has been drilling into Ternate, as we can see right here in the Philippines, and Mongolia just keeps pushing into Ming and into Manchu and into Ming and into Manchu. They declare on them all the time, but they're not taking too many provinces at once. It is pretty interesting in the New World though, with the situation in South America stabilizing, and they don't have that many rebel problems right now, and basically this nation of Calchaquí has replaced Paraguay. Colombia has also managed to reconsolidate their lands somewhat. Cuba is just chilling making money. United Central America the same, and Mexico has also managed to reconquer some of their lost provinces. Choctaw is still huge. They've almost completely wiped out Illinois, and they've basically almost completely taken over 3 regions. Remember, they started in the Mississippi, and now they own the Great Plains lands and Great Lakes as well. And Cree has also managed to settle all their tribal lands, so now they're pretty huge as well. The US doesn't exist. Thank you, Florida man. Very cool. And we have some other native nations up here, which are pretty decent size to be honest, but we do have a development. Great Britain has somehow managed to make a foothold in North America, and this is actually the first colonizer province in the New World, since they basically don't have any way to get here, even though a bunch of nations have exploration and expansion ideas. So we might see some stuff going on up here. And Alaska has also managed to retake some of their lands, well, at least down here. So it's 1603, we are about to enter the age of absolutism, as you guys know, where the conquests will really ramp up. But let's see what's been going on in the meantime. So Italy declared on the Ottomans once again, and not only that, they also declared on Crimea. Look at this huge chunk they own in the Pontic steppe region right now, and they also took a lot more provinces from the Ottomans, not only in the Balkans but in Anatolia as well. You might have also noticed that Byzantium is now an OPM in the province. In this province, basically Italy released Bosnia and then reconquered their cores from Byzantium, so now Byzantium is an OPM. Poland and Lithuania have also been expanding, especially in this direction, but they also did just declare a war on Hungary, where they took quite a bit of provinces. Actually, they took these 2 provinces here along with these 4 provinces right here. So Hungary is on its decline, although they do have really strong allies, but Poland and Italy are honestly a force to be reckoned with, a very strong alliance. Sweden and Norway have also popped out, and so has Denmark. Denmark was actually quite a bit larger, but Sweden took them over, and Scandinavia is only down to a few provinces. So that's been going on over here, not much in the rest of Europe. The Mamluks are losing a war to Ethiopia and Tunis right now, and everyone has expanded into Najd, the Timurids, Persia, Syria, and Ethiopia as well, dividing up Arabia. Rwanda continues to expand quite a bit in Central Africa. No changes in India whatsoever. Mongolia has been expanding a lot, but they do seem to be losing to Uzbek and Japan right now, so their demise may come soon. But basically they've been expanding into Manchu and into Ming, and look at China, and this is actually owned by Mongolia right here, so you can see how far they have actually expanded. And look at their claims. Basically they have the claims of the entire Mongol Empire almost. And Tibet has been expanding into China as well. Malacca has been expanding into Ava and Khmer a bit. Japan is getting pretty strong, to be honest, and I think they will take some provinces from Mongolia in this war. In South America, things have pretty much stabilized. Paraguay is still gone, but Colombia did manage to consolidate even more, as well as Mexico. All the native Mexican nations are gone. Pima has grown a bit too, and you might notice that Texas is, well, they're an OPM right now. Basically Choctaw and Mexico beat them down, and this is what they're down to. Chinook has also taken over almost all of Cascadia, and they're looking pretty strong, and Cree has been expanding over here and over here as well. This is not Canada, this is Innu, and Britain have also established Newfoundland. Canada is in Greenland. On the great powers list, Italy is still number 1, but now we have Russia at number 2, and they have been expanding quite a bit. They own almost all of the Ural region, and they have expanded into the Pontic steppe and Ruthenia as well. At number 3 we have Brandenburg, and number 4 we have Austria. They really haven't been doing too much. France at number 5, same with them. Spain, Ottomans, Great Britain. The funny thing is, France is in the HRE. This happened after they became emperor, and as you know, in 1.31.4, a nation which becomes emperor adds all their provinces to the HRE, and I guess France decided to stay. Let's check back in when the age of absolutism is in full swing. So now it's 1643, the age of absolutism is in full swing, as you will notice by some things that I'm gonna show off. First off, I think this is the most obvious thing we can see on a map. So Italy completely obliterated the Ottomans, I think in 2 or maybe even 3 different wars, and as you can see, they've taken a huge chunk out of them. They even have Constantinople. They connected all their lands. They've taken lots more in Anatolia. They declared on Austria, and well, they had this province. I guess they gave it back or something, but Italy is basically massive right now, and the Ottomans are split in 2. Will Italy try to connect their lands like this or like this? Leave your guesses in the comments. By the way, Georgia was in a PU under Russia. I didn't actually notice that earlier, but Russia did integrate them. The Netherlands have been expanding a little bit in Scandinavia, and Ruthenia has grown by about 4 or 5 provinces. This is due to the fact that Poland lost a war to Russia and Hungary. Mali is growing even more into Air. Rwanda is still growing. They've even reached the East African coast over here in this area in Mombasa and such. And Butua has also expanded a bit into Kilwa since they are allied to Rwanda. There are finally some changes in India actually, with Deccan and Bengal conquering some bits of Vijayanagar, the Timurids conquering into Gujarat, and Bengal expanding into the Burma region just a little bit though, at the expense of Ava, who has been pushed this way, and Malacca is pushing up into mainland Southeast Asia even more into Khmer and Ava. China is still a total mess, with Tibet having border all over the place. We have Dali in 2 places. We have Mongolia right here occupied by Ternate. We have Ming right here, Min, Ning, Manchu, Yan, Ming again, Mongolia. Japan is huge. What even is going on here? But Mongolia did lose a war to Uzbek and Japan, and now they are significantly smaller. Kazakh is also present. I guess they popped out due to rebels, or maybe someone made Nogai release them. If you remember, Nogai did start in Central Asia, but now they've moved into Tibet mostly, and Mongolia and North China as well. Uzbek has been growing into Chafchuveni a little bit, but these guys are getting beaten up by Nivik of all nations, who are a tributary to Japan. Ternate actually did declare war against Mongolia. They are the only belligerents in this war, so that's pretty interesting. Will we see Ternate finally make some moves in the mainland, or will they continue to be defeated by Majapahit? In the New World though, La Plata formed Chile for some reason, Colombia formed Venezuela for some reason, Cuba formed Haiti for some reason, and Florida formed the United States. That's right, and Newfoundland is now huge, and Choctaw is finally losing a war. They are losing to, well, a bunch of nations, mostly the US, Brazil, Mexico, and Venezuela. Can the US own all of North America? I think it's a bit too late for that actually. Italy has the largest army, followed by Brandenburg, Persia, the Netherlands, Austria, Russia, Great Britain, and Bengal. So Brandenburg is number 1 because they actually got Spain in a PU. I did not notice that at all, but that's pretty funny. And going into the dynastic map mode, they can even get Hungary under a PU too. So let's check back in 1700. So it's 1700, almost the age of revolutions, and I think the first thing you can notice is that Russia is huge. They have been expanding like crazy. As you can see, they did start out only in the Russia region. They have parts of Scandinavia, parts of Ruthenia, parts of the Pontic Steppe. They even made it to Central Asia, owning most of it. They've taken over the Ural, West Siberia, and they've even gotten to East Siberia, Mongolia, and even Manchuria. So Russia are expanding like crazy. They're warning a bunch of countries. They have claims on a bunch of provinces over here, and they've even started expanding in Anatolia after they integrated Georgia. Italy has also been expanding even more, taking some provinces from Tunis and some provinces from France as well. Brandenburg has started to integrate Spain, but I don't know if they'll be able to do it until the end of the game, even though this says 1756. The Dutch have also been expanding a bit in Scandinavia. Ethiopia has grown a lot actually, even taking Cairo from the Mamluks, as we can see right here. They've expanded more into Arabia, into the Sahel region, and even down in Central and East Africa. So Ethiopia is doing really well. They are Sunni though, they're not Coptic. Mali has also been expanding into Air. Air is only down to about 6 provinces, all of which are disconnected. Rwanda is pretty big. They did lose to Ethiopia though, as you can see. Bengal has been expanding in India, and they're looking like the strongest nation right now. The situation over here is even more of a mess than we last checked in. Tibet has moved out of Tibet. Nogai is moving in. We have Dali, South China, and Dali. We have Manchurian, South China, and Manchuria is right here and right here. They are losing to Russia right now, and Japan blew up. That's pretty much everything I can say about that. We have Hojo right here, and Japan only has the southern portion of the main Japanese islands, Manchuria, and some islands here and there. So the situation is pretty cursed right here. Malacca is growing in Southeast Asia. Khmer is basically gone. If you guys remember, they were huge, owning all of Indochina and a bunch of provinces in South China and Shinan, but now they're down to these 4 provinces right here. And we have Champa. Oh yeah, this happened. We have Lanfang, one of the rarest nations in EU4. Now this did happen in my previous what if video, but I made Majapahit integrate them because I thought it was a bug, but I don't think it's a bug. So if anyone knows how the AI made this happen, let me know in the comments. But Lanfang is one of the rarest nations in EU4. Australia has finally decided to do something and they've taken some provinces from Ternate. In South America, Brazil has been expanding a little bit into here and into here. Chile is now at war with this nation and Inca, but Brazil is still the dominant power here. So come to Brazil before Brazil comes to you. The United States, previously Florida, have been expanding quite a lot. They did start out with the southeast, but now they own a big portion of the northeast and the Mississippi as well. And we have the 13 colonies as well as the US. Well, that's something you don't see every day. And Cree has been losing a bit to Newfoundland, and now Choctaw is at war with Cree and Chinook. So let's see what happens here. Haiti, previously Cuba, has also been expanding into Venezuela, previously Colombia. So it's 1940 right now, and there's been some major blobbing going on. I mean, just look at Italy. They are massive. I think they might be the MVP in this scenario so far, basically. Of course, they do own all of Italy. They have expanded into the Balkans significantly, in Anatolia and in the Maghreb, and they are looking really strong right now, but they're still number 2 on the great powers list. The number 1 spot goes to Russia, and they are absolutely massive. They have expanded even more since we last checked in a bunch of regions like Mongolia, Manchuria, and East Siberia, along with Central Asia too. So they are pretty huge, and they just need to clean up some of these minor nations over here. I don't like the border go right now. Back in Europe, the Netherlands have been expanding quite a bit in Scandinavia as well. Sweden is looking pretty tiny right now. Brandenburg is integrating Spain, but we don't know when it will be done. In Africa, Mali and Ethiopia have been growing a lot. Ethiopia has been expanding in this direction, while Mali has been cleaning up some provinces that were left over from Ayer. Due to Ethiopia, Rwanda and Butua have been shrinking a bit. Rwanda was larger than this. Persia seems to be losing to the Ottomans right now. The Timurids have been pretty stable, and in India, Bengal has been growing the most, with them expanding in the Burma region, and they've also entered the Shinan region as well. Tibet has moved from here to here, and Dali has managed to consolidate a bunch of lands in China. Manchu has emigrated over here now, and we have a bunch of other Chinese nations like Ning, Yan, Qi, and Jin. Korea, of course, is back, and Japan is losing even more, well, to 4 nations at the same time, actually. Hojo is looking pretty strong, and Russia have also stepped foot on the Japanese island. Ternate has been beating down Majapahit a bit, so they might be reconquering their lands, but also moving into the Indonesia region as well, and Malacca have been expanding over here a bit. Brazil has expanded a bit into Inca. Mexico and Pima are fighting a war right now. The US has also expanded into Choctaw even more. They do own quite a big part of the Mississippi and the Great Lakes right now. The 13 colonies have also grown a bit, but Newfoundland has grown a lot, drilling into Choctaw and Cree, and Great Britain is about to form another colony here. So it's 1781. A center of revolution did pop up in France, and a lot of countries almost went revolutionary, like France, Brandenburg, Austria, and Great Britain, but nothing came from that. Brandenburg did integrate Spain, so now we have Brandenburgian Iberia, and they've also seemed to have built the Kiel Canal, but something that did happen is they're in a PU now under France. Their Liberty Desire is 100% though, so they might become free. They also took some provinces from Austria. Italy has been expanding even more, as we can see. They've taken some more provinces from Tunis, they've taken some provinces from Austria, and they've taken some land from France as well. Italy actually contested the Brandenburg PU, but they pieced out by taking land from France and didn't actually get Brandenburg in their own PU, so I don't know why they did that. Ethiopia has been expanding even more. If you guys remember, they started out in the Horn of Africa, but now they own very large parts of Central Africa, East Africa, and Arabia, and Egypt as well. So big shout out to Ethiopia. The Timurids and Bengal have been expanding into Hindustan, and now they are quite big, and Deccan has also been expanding. We can see that Malacca has also taken some provinces over here, and they have grown quite a bit, moving into Majapahit as well, and even in South China. Dali has emigrated over here now, and Tibet has been beaten up a bunch of times. Russia is, I think, the MVP of this campaign so far though, and I think they will continue to expand even more until the end of the game. They've been declaring wars left and right, and now they're actually in a war with Jin, Nogai, and Qi. Australia has also been expanding over here, and Rwanda are now even smaller than they started out. No real changes in South America. We're down to 3 big countries: Venezuela, Brazil, and Chile, with Haiti having some land over here as well. The United States have expanded into Choctaw even more, and they've basically moved into the Rio Grande region as well. However, Britain has been absolutely demolishing North America. We have the 13 colonies: British Louisiana, Newfoundland, Alaska, and they've been expanding all their colonies at a very rapid pace. They haven't had any wars against the United States yet though, but I think the US would lose against Great Britain, in this timeline at least. So let's see what the final 40 years hold for us. And it's January 1st, 1821, the end date, and let's see what everyone has been up to. Starting off in Europe, Great Britain didn't conquer too much in Europe. Actually, they're in a war with France right now, but I guess we'll never know what happens. But they did manage to get a hold of some provinces over here and over here, which then they lost. They were pretty successful in colonization, having established Newfoundland, the 13 colonies, British Louisiana, British Columbia, and British Alaska, taking over lots of territory from the nations which are established in North America, basically only Canada, Great Plains, Hudson Bay, Cascadia, parts of California, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. The Netherlands were pretty successful, beating out Scandinavia, which doesn't exist right now, and they've taken over all of Denmark and southern Scandinavia, with Sweden being in here too, and the rest of Scandinavia being taken over by Russia. Like I said, France was pretty weak. They didn't really do anything apart from getting a pew over Brandenburg, which then they lost. And Brandenburg kind of sucked too. They have lost some land to the Netherlands while gaining some land from Austria, and they did get Spain in a PU and they integrated them. Austria was pretty weak too. Italy, I think, is one of the MVPs in this campaign, definitely. They started out in the Italy region, but they've taken over almost all of the Balkans, half of Anatolia, half of the Maghreb, and even parts of France and southern Germany, and they have grown very significantly. One of the best nations in this scenario, definitely. Hungary didn't do too much, lost some land, gained some land. Poland and Lithuania grew a bit, mostly into Hungary and Ruthenia. Ruthenia still exists in these 5 or 6 provinces, but most of it has been taken over by Poland, Lithuania, and Russia. Russia is definitely the MVP of this campaign. They started off in the Russia region, but now they own Russia, parts of Scandinavia, Ruthenia, Pontic Steppe, Caucasia, Ural, West Siberia, Central Asia, Mongolia, East Siberia, Manchuria, North China, Korea, and parts of Japan. And they have expanded the most out of any country that we established. The Ottomans were pretty weak. They did get Constantinople by thrashing Byzantium in the beginning. If you remember, Byzantium owned all of the Balkans. Due to some bad alliances, they lost out. QQ also disappeared. Syria replaced them. Najd also disappeared, with Arabia being divided by Syria, Ethiopia, Persia, and the Timurids. In Africa, Tunis didn't do so well. They mostly stagnated. Mali did turn out very strong, starting off in this region, and now they own this one and this one as well. Congo doesn't exist. They started off in the Congo region, and Rwanda moved from Central Africa to over here. They were pretty strong, but now they're not. Butwa didn't really do anything, but they have taken over Madagascar from Kilwa, which doesn't exist, and this is all due to the fact that Ethiopia was so powerful. They started off in the Horn of Africa, and now they own Central, East Africa, Egypt. The Mamluks don't exist, and Ethiopia are definitely the MVP for Africa. Persia didn't do so well. They kind of shrunk. The Timurids did expand, but very slowly. They start off in the Khorasan region, and now they own some provinces here and here as well. Hindustan, the nation which I expected to be the best in India, actually didn't do anything, and they're only down to about 5 provinces right now, with Bengal being the MVP of India. Vijayanagar is right here in about 3 or 4 provinces. Deccan and Gujarat, they didn't expand so much. Nogai moved from Central Asia to Tibet, and lots of these hordes died out to Russia. If you remember, Mongolia was pretty strong. We had Uzbek and that Siberian tribe as well. Korea barely exists. We had 3 nations here in the 3 Chinese regions. None of them exist anymore, with this nation being the most cursed and border gory of any region. We have some trade cities, Malacca, Ming still exists, and other various Chinese nations. So this is the most cursed region. Khmer started out pretty strong. Now they don't exist. Oh, they do. They actually have 1 province, but they were very powerful at one point, having owned most of South China. Malacca did pretty well too, as well as Majapahi, not too much from Ternate. Japan was really strong at one point, but now they don't exist. Australia did expand a little over here, but very slowly, and Aotearoa was just chilling the entire game. Going to South America, we had Brazil, Peru, Paraguay, La Plata, and Colombia. La Plata formed Chile for some reason. Colombia formed Venezuela for some reason. Inca is gone, along with Paraguay, and Brazil is massive. Cuba formed Haiti for some reason, but now they're expanding here and here. United Central America was pretty stagnant the entire game, and Mexico was almost gone, if you remember, with the native Mexican nations breaking free, but now Mexico has managed to consolidate lots of territories. All the native nations are basically gone except Choctaw, and we have Florida, which started out in the southeast, forming the US and conquering a bunch of land. Choctaw was the most powerful nation at one point, but now they suck. This is what the religion map mode looks like in Europe, mostly Catholic. Italy has been doing lots of converting, and only the Netherlands are Protestant, with Great Britain being Anglican. This is what it looks like in Africa, as we can see, mostly Sunni nations with some fetishist ones. Russia has been doing a lot of converting. This is what the religion looks like in this region. Nogai has been doing converting as well, and even Japan is Orthodox. This is what it looks like in this region. Aotearoa is animist, Australia is Ultra-Ringa. In South America, everything is Catholic, and in North America it's divided between Catholic and Anglican, but the provinces actually being totemist. So let's see if our predictions came true. Russia is number 1 on the Great Powers list, followed by Italy, then we have Brandenburg, Bengal, Great Britain, Ethiopia, the Netherlands, and Malacca. And Russia is a military hegemon. Russia also has the most troops with more than 1 million, followed by Great Britain, Italy, Brandenburg, Ethiopia, Bengal, the Netherlands, and Persia, and then the rest of the nations. Russia also has the highest income with more than 1,000 ducats a month, followed by Italy, Great Britain, Brandenburg, the Netherlands, Persia, Timurids, Deccan, and Malacca. So that's what would happen if every region was a nation in 1444. Let me know in the comments below what's the next scenario that you would like for me to explore. And if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like and subscribe, since only 12% of you are subscribed, and become a member today and join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.